Welcome to this explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled you're tuning in today because we're tackling a topic that is literally shifting the entire landscape of the senior living sector. We're going to look closely at why your online reviews are probably not doing what you think they're doing, and we'll unpack the truly massive financial impact a single, properly structured review can have as we look ahead to 2026. The stakes have never been higher, and you know what? The rules of search are completely changing. Okay, let's dive right into this. $54,000. I want that number to really just sink in for a second. When we look at the data, $54,000 is the estimated lifetime revenue impact of a single senior living resident. So we're not just talking about some generic marketing metric here. That is the very real, tangible financial footprint of one family deciding to trust your community with the care of their loved one. When you start viewing your business through the lens of that lifetime revenue, it completely reframes the value of your online reputation. I mean, think about the modern family's journey for a minute. They're incredibly stressed, they're probably researching late at night, and they are just desperately looking for reassurance. If a specific review on your profile makes that family feel certain enough to finally stop searching, take a breath, and say yes to your community, well, that single review is essentially worth that entire $54,000 outcome. It's not just feedback anymore, it's a high-value conversion asset. Section 1. AI ignores star ratings. Here's where the paradigm shift is actually happening right now. By 2026, a review can't just sit there. It literally has to do double duty. It must be written in a way that convinces the human families reading it, while simultaneously signaling the new AI search platforms that are increasingly acting as the gatekeepers of our information. You see, AI platforms are completely ignoring your standard 5-star ratings. A 5-star average used to be the gold standard of local search, right? But to a large language model, a simple star rating completely lacks nuance. Instead, the AI search engine of 2026 is aggressively scraping for specific, useful language and deep context. It evaluates the actual words and the real experiences detailed within your reviews to decide exactly which communities it should cite when a family asks a complex question about local care options. And this brilliantly illustrates the difference. Think about a generic review that just says, "Great staff, highly recommend." Under the old rules, if that came with 5 stars, that was a huge win. But today, it tells AI absolutely nothing useful. There's zero context. Now, compare that to a review that says, "The memory care team adjusted my mother's routine in the first week, and she slept through the night for the first time in 6 months." Wow, that is incredibly powerful. It directly answers a real, desperate question a searcher might type into an AI prompt, and therefore, it's the one that gets cited. Section 2, capturing the right stories. So, the obvious question becomes, how do we actually get families to write reviews like that highly detailed one? This brings us to the strategy phase. We really need a more consultative approach to capture these context-rich stories from the families you serve. And I want to just pause here for a second because this is so absolutely crucial. You don't have to manufacture these experiences. The stories are already there. Every single family in your community has at least one moment of genuine care that they still think about. A moment where your team went above and beyond. A moment where they finally exhaled and just knew their parent was safe. Those beautiful, specific moments, they exist in your building every single day. The problem isn't the care. The problem actually lies in our standard workflows. Most automated review requests just blast out a generic text message asking for a 1 to 5 rating and a quick comment. Operators really need to stop those generic review workflows right now. The solution is implementing highly specific, milestone-based prompts. You have to ask the right question at the exact right time in the family's journey to unlock that right story. Now, what's really interesting about this is the exact phrasing you can use. Instead of just saying, "Please review us," you ask a targeted, reflective question, like, "What moment in your first month made you feel confident you made the right decision?" This is honestly the ultimate tool for extracting rich, citable stories. It psychologically guides the family away from generic praise and kind of forces them to recall a specific, detailed narrative. And that narrative is exactly what the AI search engines and those anxious prospective families are desperately looking for.
Section 3, responses as trust signals.
Let's move on and see how this builds, because eliciting the perfect story is really only half the battle. How your business handles that story once it's out there in public is just as crucial in this new search era. I mean, check out this number, 97%. According to the data, 97% of review readers also read the business's responses. Let that sink in. Almost everyone who is looking at what families say about you is also critically evaluating what you say back to them. How a business replies is definitely not just polite admin work to be handed off to an intern or automated with some generic thank you template. It acts as a massive public trust signal. Every single family who reads that review next is looking at your response to gauge your culture, your attentiveness, and your empathy. A truly great response has three core elements. First, it must be specific, acknowledging the actual details the family took the time to share. Second, it has to be warm, conveying genuine empathy and appreciation. And third, it needs to be referenced, mentioning the specific team members or departments involved if that's appropriate. When you combine these three elements, you signal loud and clear to future readers and to the AI algorithms parsing semantic sentiment that real humans at your community actively listen to and truly value feedback. Section 4. Your AI Review Audit. Well, we've covered a ton of ground today, shifting from those old school star ratings to the complex story-driven requirements of AI search. So now it's time to evaluate where your organization currently stands in this new era. Are your reviews an asset, or are they kind of invisible to the platforms of tomorrow? Auditing your review profile specifically through an AI citation lens is the foundational first step you absolutely must take before building any new marketing strategy. And this is exactly the kind of deep dive review audit that silvercord.io runs for operators before building anything else. You really have to know your baseline. You have to know if your current reviews are actually capable of capturing that $54,000 outcome in an AI-driven world. So I'll leave you with this final provocative question to chew on. What does your review profile look like right now through an AI citation lens? If an AI were to read your last 20 reviews, would it just find generic stars, or would it find compelling, highly specific stories of care? If you aren't absolutely certain of the answer, it is definitely time to find out. I highly encourage you to book a call or watch the demo over at silvercore.io to see exactly how this whole thing works. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and hey, here's to building a smarter, more impactful presence for your community.